reading out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the Doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
And good morning. How are you? Happy Tuesday to you, wherever you might be here on the program. Glad to have you tuned in. It's quite brisk. My goodness. See, we had our Monday football show, and as soon as we had the Monday football show, kind of the review of week 0, it starts to feel like fall. It's almost as if the earth on its axis realizes, hey, it's the first week of college football coming up, first one, week 1. Let's get the weather right. Man, it feels great. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. We have a fun program set up for you here today. Coming up a little bit later here in hour number 1. We're scheduled to be joined. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just going to get out of the way. The Hall of Fame VHSL coach, the legendary head football coach at Giles High School, Steve Ragsdale, who has warned me, by the way, that he's not the most technical savvy guy in the world, so he's prefacing that he may have trouble getting hooked up, but what he does will be good to go. So he calls, I will answer the phone, and we will try to help him out. But he was pretty honest about that. Very funny. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, at the same time, we're going to have ESPN's Marty Smith from Marty and McGee. Of course, played for Coach Rags, number 9, wearing the Spartan colors. And those two are going to be here together. So we're looking forward to that. Known Marty for a long time. He showed up one time. He started stringing for the Roanoke Times, covering high school football. And I was set up calling Radford Bobcats games. And I'm not 100% sure, but it was either the press box at Floyd or it was the press box here at Auburn. I'm not sure which one. It was one of the two. But that's when I met him, and Mike Ashley had told me about him and so forth. So Marty and Coach Ragsdale coming up a little bit later on this hour into hour 2. David Smith, our NFL correspondent, the Radford Hall of Famer, and then Mike Burnop, whose appearance is brought to you by Louise Baker. So we have a lot going on today. Let's just hope technology holds out on us. As always, please like and subscribe. Remind people that it's free. The subscription numbers have been good. Like to always get them going upward. So tell your friends, and you can rewatch the videos anytime. That's what a lot of people do if you couldn't catch it in the morning. And, that's what I do a lot on YouTube. I go back and I watch videos, and I just fast forward to the parts I want to see. So make sure you do that. And please like and subscribe and spread the word. It's vitally important that happens. Be sure to join us as well. If you don't want to be in our McClellan Chiropractic chat room, jump in there right now. We keep up with a lot of folks there. You can also hit us up on the BDST text line. A lot of folks are jumping on the text line every morning, which is great. It's 2 different folks usually, chat room and text line, 540-391-0788. That is our text line ticker below. So you never have to guess when it is. So be sure to jump on that. Thanks again to Family Fencing. This is the Family Fencing Studios here in Reiner, and they are very good at what they do, folks. Make sure that you check them out. They have a no-dig installation system. They have free quotes. I mean, that's pretty cool in itself. They also have finance options available. Call them at that number below, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Locally owned. They do it in vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, you name it. and they want to take care of your fencing needs. So be sure to let them know that you heard us talking about it here on the show. Also, Mark Hunley and McClellan Chiropractic in our chat room. Be sure to jump on the scroll in the chat room. It's always a lot of fun. Thanks to those folks. Ryan Pry, attorney, our BDST fan question of the week. And we're already asking more college football questions. Go see him at 701 West Main Street down in Radford. And what we're doing there this week with him is the college football game that you liked to watch growing up that would come on TV, whether it was it didn't necessarily have to be your favorite team, but just a game that you always wanted to see that would come on nationally. So we've already got some nice answers to that. You can send those on the text line, or you can hit me up you can DM me, either me personally, Rick Watson, or the show. But we did that, and that was really, really, really nice as well. Little River Heating and Air. There they are on 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. You know, we've been talking about still being warm. You might want to make sure your units are good to keep cool. Days like this, you want to make sure your heat units are good. So be sure to hit them up. They're the best in the world, and we want to thank them. And, of course, BDST now brought to you going forward by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. And I can't wait to start diving headfirst into everything that's going on there with Jonathan Sweet and his crew, Tim Miller. And it's going to be a lot of fun to talk to those people and let you know what they're doing to improve the county and improve the sports complexes. And you can use sports, and, you know, just in sports is pretty vital to the health of an economy and to a community. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that. We kind of take it for granted. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Rodney, in the chat room. I'm still working on the stuff behind me, by the way. I know people, hey, did you get your shelf? Well, no. I didn't get a shelf. It is what it is. It'll happen at some point. Just don't know when. Hey, Jason, good morning to you in the chat room. Good to see you. Nice. Mike says, yeah, the ACC Game of the Week by Raycom before ESPN took over. Yeah, Raycom's book. It's good stuff. Very good stuff. So, yeah, we'll get a shelf. That'll happen. And we have not forgotten about all the T-shirt requests with the new logo. We're working on that as well. All right, or I'm working on that. It's going to take a little time, but we're getting there. So that's going to happen. And as we revealed yesterday, by the way, and I'm really excited too, we usually save the newest sponsor for last, but we want to thank National Bank for being part of this program. It means a lot to me because I've been with National Bank for over 30 years. And we're going to have our Star Athlete of the Week sponsored by National Bank. They're going to sponsor the Fourth and Goal Show, be the title sponsor of our Fourth and Goal Show, myself and Jermaine. They're our exclusive banking partner here on the program. So thanks to Lara and all those folks. And I like to vouch for things, people I know, and people who, even if I didn't necessarily, if I don't actually utilize you in my everyday life, it's just people that I know are doing things for the right reasons and are really good at what they do. So it's great. It's just an added bonus when it's actually people that I've worked with. So thanks to Lara, thanks to National Bank. And we're very excited about that partnership as well. So hit me up if you are a sponsor and you're interested in joining the program. That would be great. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you so much. Yeah, good show today. Now, it's going to be interesting because if you haven't spoken to Steve Ragsdale, I get the feeling his voice hasn't changed a whole lot from the time he was on the practice field coaching Marty. It's very direct, very loud, and he's very honest about this whole internet thing. He was so he may have a little – I'm just saying that when we try to get him connected, you may see me have to take a call. You may have to see me talk to him. But whatever it might end up being, it's going to be good stuff. It's going to be good radio, as they say. Mike, I appreciate that. Mike says he's going to get my shelf for me back here. So yeah, Coach Rag's going to come on, and it's great to talk to him. You know, I just, when we lost Coach Linneberg, you start to realize those guys, a lot of those guys aren't around anymore. The legends of the New River Valley and Roanoke Valley coaching, and it's a period that you just once it happens, you're just you're very grateful that was around. And I'm grateful now that we have coaches that are picking up the mantle, younger coaches. You know, it was great last night walking around we had a middle school game up here at Auburn, and, walked in there and just kind of stuck my head in, watched a little bit of it. It was good to see football back, and you had those smells. You could kind of feel the chill coming in there. You knew it was going to be a cool night. It was awesome. It was awesome. Just awesome to be a part of it. And I can't wait for Friday nights coming up, not only here in Ryder, but everywhere. I mean, it's high school football week. It's week one of college football. And, nobody really knows how any of this is going to go. And you've talked about it a little bit yesterday. We'll talk about it a little bit later on with Mike Burnop too. And, Marty's going to be jumping into his coverage here very, very soon. This weekend, he's going to be all over the place. But we're going to talk to him about the start of a football season, whether it's high school, what it felt like. If you're a senior, it's your last year. I'm very glad for any seniors here at Auburn now that they have a team again. If you're a college player, it's a little different now. Finally getting through all the extra years that were given because of COVID. They felt like they were never going to run out. College, we've just had to have gotten over. It's just not the same about recruiting. This is just me, but whenever now I see a high school kid commit, I know Tech was posting stuff, not Tech itself, but, people who have sites with Tech football. They were, talking about this kid they got out of high school the other day. And I'm like, okay, will he come here? Will he end up playing? How much money was it? And that's where we are. And that's just the way it is. And this isn't me complaining anymore about it. That's the landscape, and you've had to move beyond it and just understand it's a business. It's really become no different than the NFL when you pull for a team, and when you just have to get over it. You want them to play the best they can for your squad, but that whole vibe isn't there anymore like it used to be. There's going to be certain cases. It's not going to be all encompassing. It's not going to be enveloped into a big, this is the way it is. There's going to be every program is going to have, I'm talking about college football. Every program is going to have some kids who are there because they love the school, a parent's lineage, all these things, whatever it might be. They grew up going to football games there, so they wanted to play there. There's still going to be those outliers, but for the most part, the team that you have lined up is going to be the team you've been able to go out and repurchase, and they're going to come there. A lot of them may only be there 1 year, and we just have to come to grips with that. It's not going to change. It's not going away. The regulation that we hoped we would see didn't happen. Courts backed down. You know why? Because they knew there were going to be suits. NCAA is just going to let it out. And we said this a couple of years ago on the radio show. You let the genie out of the bottle, you open Pandora's box, whichever mythological reference you want to use. So there's no going back. And when that genie is Barbara Eden, you don't want to put the genie back in the bottle, huh? You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. But any of it, so it's here. It's what it is. And I think a lot of people, for the most part, from what I hear, people are very excited. They're very excited. They're not focused on that anyway. And when you're over here, Tech fan, when you're filling up Lane Stadium, selling it out for Vanderbilt, that first night game, nobody's going to be thinking about those things. You're going to watch Tech come out, and hopefully they'll wear the proper uni and try to get a win against Vandy. Maybe they're going after their second straight SEC win. You don't know. When you're watching them in the all orange on Sunday, you're not worried about all this stuff, because they're still wearing the colors. They still have the VT on the helmet, even though it's the white helmet, which I don't like. But we just have to deal with it. We've adjusted. Sports fans, we have had to adjust our whole lives to everything, right? We've had to adjust to rising costs and tickets and parking, merchandise, teams jumping leagues in the professional ranks. We've had teams leaving conferences, transfer. I mean, whatever it might be, who has been the constant? It's been us. We are the sports fans. That's what it is. And I think that when sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the perseverance that we show as sports fans. We put up with a lot. They know it. When I say they, I mean the people who run everything. They know that fans are going to come back. It's what we do. It's why we're called fans. It's short for fanatics. We are a loyal group. We put up with a lot of abuse, right? We do. Professional teams. I have a lot of Washington football fans who've been through a lot under Daniel Snyder that's stuck in there year in, year out. And now things are finally on the uptick, right? Bad ownership. Bad athletic directors. If you're a collegiate fan, not making the right moves, right? It's just all. Good morning, Jimmy. Good morning, Jason. Yeah, it is great to have a football back in Auburn. Hey, Jason, good morning to you. Folks at Family Fencing, Jason Green. Yeah, Coach Ragsdale, making men, teaching the game of football and life. Still sounds exactly the same. Hope we can get him on. He's very concerned about the whole connection thing, so we're going to work with him on that. We'll take you behind the curtain when we try to get Coach Rags on. We're going to just take you right behind the curtain. But, we put up with a lot as sports fans. But I think all of us are very excited. We're very encouraged because, it's still that outlet. It's still something that we need. I know I do. We can't just be bogged down in our everyday lives of work and just responsibilities at home with your family. That is a release. When you're coming to Blacksburg, people who come from Northern Virginia or middle part of Virginia come back, have season tickets. Well, they're doing that because they need that. It's their little tribal ritual, to hang out with their tailgaters and to go in and, if Tech gets a win, you're talking about the game on the way back. You have all these things that are happening. Something just fell. So, I mean, it's just like any other thing, pop culture, movies. Whatever it might be, your distraction in life. That's what sports is for us. That's what we do. And unfortunately, real life is kind of crept into it so much, can't be hidden any longer. But we hang in there as sports fans. It's what we do. That's why there's still being so many gobs of bags of money being made by the networks, by TV rights, by advertising rates. It's why teams like Tech now, schools like Tech, are changing their schedule going forward. It's why the SEC went to 9 conference games to maximize dollars. That money seems to be still there. It hasn't dried up yet. At some point it will. This isn't a long-term sustainable model, I don't think, because I don't think enough money is going to be available. But for now, it's there. And you think about where we would be here in the New River Valley had Virginia Tech football not become this mega successful program under Frank Beamer, right? 3 Readings Football says if I'm able to get Coach Rags online, I should win some sort of YouTube award. Let's just say that the conversation that I had with Rags yesterday didn't center around the content of the show. It was more of, let's see if we can get this thing done today. So I think what's going to happen is this, just to get you prepared. I told him I would send him the link about 7:30 or 6:30. Now, if he wants to jump on, I'll put him on whenever he's here. He said, if I can't figure it out, I'm just going to call you. So if you see me put down the headsets and I get on the phone, that's me talking to Rags. Just telling you ahead of time. But that's okay, because that's That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. So if we get on a little early, that's great. That's great. But yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll see how that goes. Hit us up. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line, and hit us up on our text line too. I know I say it a lot because I have to, because it's important. Make sure that you, I know most of you that are watching are probably already subscribed, but spread the word. Let people know it's free. And, you don't get bugged by being subscribed. You get like a little 5-second, the show is live now. So all these things. It's very important for the algorithm, YouTube. Got a positive report back heading into week 3. I have a person who sends me a report. They're very encouraged by it. So that's a credit to you. Thank you for going back. And what we're getting a lot of is rewatches of the live shows. That's awesome. So thank you for that. But we need, subscribers. We need people to like all the videos. That's vitally important. So please do all those things. As someone who's watched YouTube for a long time, now I understand why all those hosts would say several times throughout their broadcast, hey, be sure to like and subscribe. I get it. You start to get that little push from the front office, if you will, for that to happen. Yes, Rodney. Thank you. Rodney Young brought me a physical copy of my first piece for the Patriot that I wrote about Coach Lindbergh and our visits on Wednesdays. Thank you. Not online. Still can't find it there. I'm just going to chalk that up to me. But very nice to actually. It meant more to hold it. It was kind of cool to see it in a paper form. That was nice. That was really cool. So thank you. Thank you for doing it. Hey, Jim, good morning. Narrows in the old New River District, no doubt. Best district around, probably in the history of the state. High school football, New River District. Great athletes, many who went on to have terrific collegiate careers, great coaches, real rivalries, real, I don't like them, they don't like us. There's nothing wrong with that rivalries. It's okay in sports. I was talking to Travis Williams yesterday. You and I were talking about it. We've gotten to the point to where you're not supposed to have any animosity toward the team you're playing, trying to beat. And I don't mean it to be some kind of personal, you're going to go break their legs after the game or damage their uniform or anything like that. I don't mean it like that. But I mean, when you're out there in competition, you're not supposed to have this affinity. Now, if somebody's hurt, you want them to be taken care of. If somebody gets hurt, you're going to say, okay, he's hurt. I'm not saying go out there and kick somebody while they're down, but I mean, you need to win. They're trying to do to you what you're trying to do to them. Okie Bob says having a Rags on guarantees a Marconi radio award. I don't know if there's a YouTube version of the Marconi. Yeah, agreed, Mike. There should be a full book. That sounds like a Mason Clark thing. Mason wrote that great book on Pulaski County football. Write a book on the history of the New River District from 1960 to 1995. That'd be cool. I'd buy it. Many people here would buy it. Absolutely. That's a great idea. It would take a lot of research, but it would be worth it in the end. That'd be a passion project. But I'm just saying it's okay not to like your opponent. There's nothing wrong with that. Everything that's going on in society now, I mean, you're supposed to have rivalries. That's what makes it fun. Imagine and I'm going to, use this as an example because I think it's there. Imagine being back in that day and being Narrows versus Pearisburg. It's still that way now. Dublin versus Radford. Pulaski versus Dublin High School. Right? You're not supposed to go into that game and all friendly and happy. Hey. That's just the way it is. And then afterwards, you shake their hands, show them respect, and you move on to the next game. But sports were healthier, I think, when you had genuine – I think what that does too, and, tell me if I'm wrong. Hit me up on the in the chat room, McClellan Chiropractic chat room, or hit me up on the text line. I mean, doesn't it feel like it's more genuine if you have teams out there who are adversaries who really don't like one another? Because then it means something to them like it means something to us as fans. I mean, if everybody's just kind of, because they share the same agents, and this is what happens in the NBA, it's what's led to, I think, the immense downfall of that league. One of the things, anyway. Oh, hey, we were hanging out at the agent party the other night. Might be a guy who plays for the Celtics who's, playing the Sixers, but they don't care because, hey, we're all making a lot of money. You don't want it to feel that way as a fan. So when you see genuine dislike and animosity, you don't want to see anybody take any cheap shots. You don't want to see anybody punching somebody after the play. But it tells us as fans, this means something to them to beat them. It's okay. It's fine. David says the NIL has turned college football into Major League Baseball. Texas, Georgia, LSU, and like the Yankees, Red Sox currently, Tech like the Oakland A's. Well, there's something to that. There's the have and have nots, David. And that's what concerns me the most about the new financial landscape. Will it become that permanently? The SEC and the Big Ten are acting in that matter. That's what they're looking at. I mean, that's just the way that it rolls. That's the way that it rolls. So there's something to be said for that. 100%. 100%. All right, so we're getting ready to send Coach Rags the first invitation here. I'm going to say first invitation because there might be more. Three Rings football, Dublin, Radford used to play day games. Yeah, the atmosphere. That's right. My dad used to tell me that. Yes. The rivalry was so intense. There would be so many fights amongst the student body and players trying to leave the game. 100%. They had to move the games to daylight to help the police and to help school officials kind of make sure things didn't evolve into something horrible. Absolutely. And I'm sure there were probably other rivalries in the New River District that had that happen. Yeah. 100%. Dad used to tell me that all the time. I mean, it would get downright vicious. Now, you don't want that kind of thing to happen. I'm not being a proponent of saying, hey, we want fisticuffs from fans and things like that, but I'm just saying it's okay to have that kind of feeling. I mean, I'm a Broncos lifer. I hate the Raiders. That's our rival. Chiefs have done it recently. They're a rival too. So are the Chargers. I wouldn't say anybody who's a divisional rivalry, but you have that one team, Cowboys, Redskins, all those years. Bears, Packers, right? It's just the way that it is. Yeah, Wayne says that school on the other side of the train tracks didn't respect you, and the towns lived and died by those games, and that was settled on the field. Yeah, that was your bragging rights. That's why the bragging rights. That's why the whole. How many times do we hear Keith Jackson? Oh, time for bragging rights. That's what that is. That's exactly where that comes from, Wayne. 100%. It's okay. So it's not going to bother me this Saturday when we, see teams kind of get a little feisty. That's good. It means something. It's not just about dudes showing up on your campus and collecting checks and going through the motions. That's what I don't want it to become. And that's what I was so pleased with in the Saturday game in Ireland, the Iowa State-Kansas State game. I mean, that's a natural rivalry because they're Big 12 rivals for a long time before it was the Big 12. Obviously, they played a lot of games. So you could sense it, man. Once you got out there, all that kind of stuff, and football kind of lends itself to that. The violent nature of it, how fast the game is on the field. You don't realize how fast the game is. I know I don't. The few times I've been fortunate enough to watch a college game, to cover a college game, and to do it from the sideline, and then you see – I mean, it is such a fast, it's crazy. So you can't really afford to get caught in anything but your job and what you need to do. Mike, yeah, Christiansburg hated Blacksburg, still do. Right, and vice versa. And vice versa. And that's okay. All right, so here we go, folks. This is the first attempt at Coach Rags for him to get connected. 20 might send it around 6:30, so I'm about 2 minutes late here. So I have absolutely no problem with letting you behind the glass here. We'll make sure I've got this right. It's Ragsdale without an E. So I'm going to send that to Coach, and I'm going to shoot him a text here because this is what he told me to do. He was coaching me through this as well. So yeah, we are going to send him a text here and let him know that we just sent that to him and he's good to go. But anyway, looking very forward to the conversation once we get them secure, Coach and Marty here in just a little bit. And I'm just going to stay out of the way. Good morning, Coach. I just sent the link to join the YouTube stream at around 7. You can jump on early if you would like. There you go. Thanks. Right. And I know he's up because he says he gets up early. All right. So Coach has it, and we'll start working on that. We'll start working on that. Now, if he calls, and he said he might, it was just fine. You'll be able to hear me with the mic, but I'm going to take my headphones off and talk to him. Okay? So I'm just following Coach's procedure, just like if we were at practice. Mike Palmer, 1987, Pulaski versus Salem on Halloween was a great rivalry game. Yeah, it was. Carroll County and Galax, absolutely. Massive game. David says because we were all trying to date the same girls. It's funny. That's funny. Yeah, hey, whatever your incentives are, David, whatever your incentives are. That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, it's a pretty good incentive. 100%. But rivalries are good. We need them. And I think that's college football kind of still has that, regardless of who comes and goes. And the cast members are going to change each and every year now more so than ever before. But something about when Ohio State and Michigan line up, they put on those helmets, right? Changes everything. Everything gets changed. And that's good. Tech and UVA, it's not really a rivalry anymore because Tech dominates. But, there's still no love lost between those two schools. Yeah, Rodney, Narrows and Giles, it's still there, man. Green and gold, red and powder blue. I mean, it's real. It is real. In the SEC, I think probably of all the leagues, what they have going for it feels like there are really bitter rivals still week in and week out in the SEC more so than other leagues. I could be wrong. Doesn't it just kind of feel that way, though? Just talking about college football now. Feels that way to me. Maybe that's not accurate, but I think it's accurate. Now, keep in mind, Coach Rags calls. I'm going to talk to him. Okay, just telling you now. And if he pops up in the studio, I'm just going to throw him on. Yeah, and then we'll send an invite here to Marty coming up, and then we'll be good to go. Mike says he picks the Giles and Narrows fans because they come to the rivalry calling it the, quote, redneck Super Bowl, end quote. That's one game I want to see. Well, regardless of what you call it, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. Was that Pearisburg High School at the time? Take me back through there, those of you who grew up in that era. Was that Pearisburg High School? Pearisburg and Narrows before it was Giles County? I don't know. I don't remember the actual name. Somebody will know. These peeps will know. Rodney, I know Rodney will know. David, you're right. I went to, and I was in college, I went to one Iron Bowl. I went to an Alabama-Auburn game at Jordan Hare with a friend of mine, buddy of mine, whose family were all Auburn guards. He went to Radford, or grads, Auburn grads. He went to Radford, and he said, hey, man, you should come down this weekend. We're going to go. We got tickets to the Alabama game. And I'm like, sure, absolutely. Because, I'd always heard about it. So I went with him. And you're exactly right. That is real. I mean, I don't know what other word to use. That's hatred. If you walk near a tailgate and you're wearing the blue and orange of Auburn, vice versa, if you're wearing the crimson, if you're going, I mean, you may not get around the corner safely. And then we're sitting up and we're hearing people. We're out in the tailgate. And I'm in college. I'm like 21, 22, and you're just absorbing all of this. And you hear people talk about how families down there in that state have adjusted their will because their own children ended up, what they would say, betraying the family by, if they were an Auburn family, going to Alabama. If they were an Alabama family, going to Auburn. Took them out of the will. Families were talking about how they were estranged because they just didn't, they didn't agree with their choice of school. Yeah. Pearisburg Red Devils and the Pembroke Corncutters. Really? Sign me up for that. McClellan Chiropractic chat room popping this morning. Like it. There was a Pearisburg High School. Really? So they were the Red Devils and the Corncutters. Dan Callahan, God rest his soul. Man, I really miss Dan this time of year. Miss him all the time, but boy, really this time of year. Saltville. Down the road, down the interstate, you still see the sign, Saltville High School. I don't think there is a Saltville High School anymore, but they were the Saltville Shakers. Now, I don't know if that was the name of the school or the cheerleading squad, whatever, but how about that? What a great name. That may be the best nickname to go with a town representing a high school I've ever heard of, the Saltville Shakers. But I tell you what, Pearisburg Red Devils and Pembroke Corncutters is pretty close. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's awesome. So we have sent the invite to Coach Rags. I sent him a text. I have not heard back anything yet, so I guess he's trying to connect that way. If he pops up, I'm just going to go ahead and get him on. That way he'll be on, and then I'll send Marty his invite. I'm going to send Marty's invite here in about 5 minutes. Told Marty it'd be about 6:45. Try to stay on schedule here on the program. Make sure you go back if you do not watch us live. Even if you do watch us live, please like and subscribe and encourage other people to do so. That's vital to the cause as we go forward here. And we want to thank all of our great sponsors: Family Fencing, McClellan Chiropractic, Ryan Pry, attorney in Radford. Call him up, 548-38-2233. Little River Heating and Air, National Bank, and of course, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment for presenting this program on a daily basis. Awesome. So there was a West Virginia school had polka dots. Really? Really? Okay. I'm sure that's something I would choose to be my everyday attire during a game, but nonetheless, that's interesting. Very, very interesting. All right. Keep the messages coming. This is fun, going back and talking about the old New River days in the chat room. Hang on just a second. I'm going to go shut my door. My door's cracked and it's kind of cold. Hang on just a second. All right, there we go. Now we got it. All right. Now we're cooking with grease. I had the door. See where I'm sitting. You can't see in front of me, obviously, but it's downstairs in my den, so forth, basement, and sliding glass doors. I always kind of keep them cracked because I want to get some cool air in here. And it was a little chilly, a little brisk. All right, I'm going to let Coach know. Please let me know if there are any issues. All right. So there we go. All right, so now I'm going to send Marty his invitation here. All right. Okay. So this is a lot of fun. I agree with Mike, though. I think having a book about the old New River District would be awesome. All right, boom. All right, so now everything has been sent to where it needs to go here for our first combo of guests, and we shall see. All right. Invite, and I'm letting Marty know I sent him the invite. I try to do this to be courteous to our people. All right, there we go. There you go. Hey, we're taking you behind the glass, man. Just want this to work out, you know. And look, I understand. I don't think, my dad passed 7 years ago. That's unbelievable, by the way, that it's been 7 years. But he never had email. I mean, I could send him a link and I'd have gotten the same reaction. I heard the same stuff. Jason, Family Fencing says, as a current local high school, rivalry games, William Fleming and Patrick Henry still great, and it gets dangerous. Yeah, that's true. There's another one. Yeah, up the road, Roanoke Valley, 100%, man. That's very intense. Jermaine and I are doing our first 4th and Goal show recording this week, and, he played at PH, so we can talk about that. We'll bring this up in the 4th and Goal preview with Jermaine. Yeah, that'll be fun. David says, I know they're down the road, but Gate City was a high school football powerhouse. Oh, absolutely. Radford used to run into them all the time. Yeah, Gate City, Virginia High. Bobcats used to have trouble with them a lot. A whole lot. 100%. I mean, that was a great program. Turning out college players. That whole area down that way, man. Phil Robbins and Powell Valley High School, Thomas and Julius Jones. Seemed like that when I was calling games, Coach Lindenberg, we'd grind through the postseason, and then you get down into semifinals. Hey, where are you going? Oh, we're making another trip to Big Stone Gap. Yeah, let's go to Big Stone Gap. I think Thomas, I remember I got to call both of their games, and I got to call, games with Thomas and Julius both in high school. Of course, Thomas Jones went to UVA. Julius went to Notre Dame. I think Thomas Jones for me, just off the top of my head, was a better looking high school back. I remember, more impressive. He could break tackles. He was a little thicker. Julius had unbelievable speed. That's right. Phil Robbins was at Christiansburg before he went to Powell Valley. Yeah, Mike, you're right. I remember talking to Coach Robbins about that. Because in the playoffs, we would also do not only would I talk to Coach Lindenberg, we'd always have I'd talk to the opposing coach in the playoffs. We would extend the pregame, and he was really good to interview. He was outstanding to interview. So, yeah. The trip to Hayside is always interesting. Three Rings football says. I've never been there. Never been to Hayside. Along with Marty and Coach Ragsdale, scheduled to join us, David Smith. Today is the day for your final cuts for NFL rosters. Might see some trades here as the day goes on, too. It's usually the case. And then Mike Burnup after that will get a preview of South Carolina. See what he thinks about things. Excited. Very excited. Fun times, man. Good stuff all the way around. So we got a really good program lined up here on a Tuesday. And I hope that, again, you're taking the time to subscribe when you watch, like every video, and spread the word. Remind people it's free. I think I get a lot of people saying, wait a minute. I ask them to subscribe. They're like, well, how much is it? Nothing. This isn't premium content in terms of like, hey, if you spend $10 more, we're going to take you on the sidelines. No, we're not doing that. It's free. It's absolutely free. Yeah, Grundy was a long ride. Yeah, we played Grundy too. You talking about now high school wrestling dynasty. We played down there. We used to always play in the Graham Gritterama Bobcats. We'd always go up to Bluefield, spend the day there, and Radford would have a couple of scrimmages, and we'd broadcast those. But one year, we went to Grundy and played in their jamboree. And I don't remember exactly what that was called. May have been like the Coal Miners Classic, something of that nature. Don't know off the top of my head. But I remember it was a long ride. I remember those guys were huge because they were all wrestlers, all the wrestling guys played football. So, any event, it's just fun to reminisce about these leagues, man. It's fun to see everybody in the chat room bringing up all their memories of the New River District. So, it's why high school football is so special still. I'm so glad that it's continuing to be something that's passionate. I know here it's really felt empty here This is my new adopted town, my town I'm living in. Pulaski County football, where I grew up, was so vital, was the backbone of the town. Nothing brought a community together more than Joel Hicks teams. That's why it was such an honor to play in that program. Just like it is for any of you, anybody who's playing for your hometown high school team or had played. But the last couple of years here, we haven't had it here in Reiner. And it's been a big void in the community. I'm not blaming anyone. I understand. They tried to play 2 years ago. I think they played a couple of games early, and everybody got hurt. They didn't have that many kids to begin with, and then they had to just end it. And then last year they didn't field a team. They knew they had to build up from their minor leagues. And it just means now that it's back, man, it really, really, really means a lot. It helps to fill that void. Richard says, I have an old article about the Christiansburg-Blacksburg game in 82 when Robin switched the jerseys before the game and Christiansburg won. Really? So you're telling me Phil Robin switched game jerseys? Wow.
Do you want me to?
No, I don't know why that's talking. Why did my phone just start talking for no reason? Siri trying to get involved in the show. Siri's a big fan. So he switched jerseys. Why does that thing keep going on? I'm being spied on by the government, which we are, by the way. You realize that, right? With these smartphones, you understand what these are, right? Okay. Wow. So he changed the jerseys. I'm keeping my phone here in case Coach Ragsdale calls me. That's why I'm keeping it right here. So hopefully it'll all work out for him. David says, I remember Pulaski coming to Carroll early 80s, and Pulaski had more band members than Carroll had football players. Yeah. That's funny. That's very funny. You imagine if that happened today? I was just trying to think about if that was a modern story today. I don't think you'd get away with it. Maybe you would. I don't know. So you're sitting there watching, you're scouting, and then you go out to play the game after warm-ups, and guys come out not wearing anything resembling the uniform jerseys they had. It's kind of a brilliant move, huh? Wow. Those are great stories, though. Those are the best stories, to say the least. Yeah. But yeah, it's special, man. It's fun. It's fun, and it feels like football. You go out to work today now. You better put on a shawl. Better put something on because it's a little chilly out there today now. But that's fine because fall's coming. Maybe that means fall's going to get here a little earlier. We'll still have a couple of really hot September Saturdays. Like the first 3 weeks, sometimes there's some really hot games, and then it'll really start to cool off. We've sent invitations. False fall number 1, Wayne said. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. Because you look at the temps this week, and it's going to be back up in the 70s. Yeah, low 70s is fine, though. I don't have a problem with low 70s. Low 70s is good. We don't mind low 70s. But, yeah, there will be 80-degree days. There will be. Another message in the McClellan chat room. Christiansburg had gold alternate jerseys that they used for special occasions. Blacksburg was that occasion. Is that when they would wear the gold alternate jerseys and then put numbers on there that are barely legible? Is that? What's that number? I don't know. Looks like a gold number on a gold jersey. Oh, I can't really read that. Yeah, I can't either. That happened to us Sunday. We were broadcasting women's soccer down at Radford. Campbell, they were all black. They had these orange numbers, but they didn't have outlines on them. And you couldn't read the number. You could not read the number. So you just had to wait for close-up shots. It was tough. And they weren't big and blocky. If they'd have been big and blocky, it would have helped. But they had that kind of fancy little swoosh design. So sometimes a 3 looked like a 5. Sometimes a 1 looked like a 7. You're just like, you had the starters listed. And at that point, as a broadcaster, what you do is you start identifying by what they're wearing. You start looking at their sneakers or their socks. Well, they don't wear sneakers, but their soccer shoes. Okay, so number 12 is wearing bright purple. You just put that down. You're literally writing down the kind of shoes they have because I can't read the numbers. Because if you've ever been to Cup for a broadcast, we are up way high, way, way high. And you have the monitor there, but unless the camera shot is on the field level, you can't read the numbers. You can't see it. So that's what you do. That's what you do. You adjust because you're a professional and you can rise above it. Scheduled to be joined here in moments, Marty Smith and Steve Ragsdale. I have not heard from Coach. Coach said if he was having issues, he would be glad he would call me. So I don't know if he's just waiting till right at 7 or what it might be, but we're hoping that he can jump on here. Yeah, I have not gotten any kind of further communication from Coach since I sent him the invite. Oh, I see, Mike. Those look cool, though. They all gold. That looks cool. At least they had the big blue number on. I don't know, Jimmy. I have not seen what South Carolina is wearing against Tech. Tech's wearing all orange. Have they done a reveal? Does anybody know? You would assume it's a first game, an intersectional game like that, they're probably going to wear something other than just white. Right? So I don't know. I have not seen a reveal. I've not seen a uni reveal for them. I kind of like those all gold unis, Mike. Yeah, look that up for me, Jim. Let me know. I would assume by now we're on Tuesday. Tech did it a week early. They did it over the weekend. I would assume they've probably done it. So I want to see what South Carolina is wearing because we know Tech's wearing all orange. Yeah, Mike, I agree. That was solid, man. And I bet it looked really cool with the helmet. Was that a blue helmet too, or was that a gold helmet? That was nice. I love the big block numbers. I don't like all the little fancy designs and all the different little, shades and things of that nature. Not a fan of those. But those big blocky numbers look so good, especially on a high school uniform. We don't get that enough. But that's a nice look, man. That's a nice look. Yeah, the Ole Miss jersey. Yeah. Gold helmet from 78 to 85. Yeah, with that. If they had the all gold and the big numbers and they had the gold helmet, that's a good look. We have officially reached our second hour, so scheduled here to be joined any moment by Marty Smith and hopefully Coach Ragsdale as well. I want to thank Family Fencing for being the sponsors of our studio here in Reiner. Family Fencing, great company, no dig installation system. You can give them a call at 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. They build better fences, no digging required. Go see Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee and Company. Thanks to the National Bank and Larry Ramsey for sponsoring this program, the only bank I've ever used. And we are proud to be presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We're still trying to have Coach Ragsdale join us here on the program, but joining us now on the program is our guy. We say our guy here in the New River Valley because he is. He is Marty Smith. No matter where he goes, he takes where he came from with him. Marty, what's up, dog? Good to see you, brother.
It's great to see you too, brother, and congratulations on your show. It's awesome for the area. I'm sure that everybody would much rather be learning the great wisdom of Steve Ragsdale. But here we are, man. College football is here. It's a crazy time and such an exciting time. And what an awesome season we have coming. Week 1 has so many fantastic games. LSU's at Clemson, Bama's at Florida State, and Texas at Ohio State, and on and on. So for those of us at ESPN that live and breathe college football, this is about as good as it gets.
You're right, man. And you're going to be – where are you? I know you're heading out on the weekend. You start Thursday. You're probably more than one spot, aren't you? You're probably everywhere.
Yeah, SEC Nation. And I have a show called Marty and McGee with my friend Ryan McGee.
Yeah.
And that we are starting that show in Atlanta. Syracuse is at Tennessee. And so we'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday morning. And then I would say it's more than likely is probably how I would couch it, that I'll end up in Clemson, South Carolina for the LSU game, which, I mean, it could be a national championship preview. Even whichever team loses this game, I don't think they lose their national championship opportunity. These are two loaded football teams. And, with experienced quarterback play, with NFL prospects all over the place on the defensive side of the ball. Both of them added really nice pieces in the portal, specifically LSU. I think they won the portal this past run. And so that one's going to be a heater, brother. And yeah. I can't wait to see how that one unfolds. And up at the shoe, Arch Manning, really, he started last year when Quinn was hurt a couple times against ULM and Mississippi State, but now it's really his team. And he's such a phenomenal young man. I had the opportunity to sit down with him. He doesn't do a ton of one-on-ones, but he has a Red Bull partnership, NIL partnership. And I got asked to come down to Austin last February. I think it was in February. And sat across from him for all of the ESPN platforms, Sports Center and whatever, game day.
Yeah.
And I really was incredibly impressed with the poise, with the humility. And we all know what kind of athlete he is. So they're going to be a problem too.
Marty Smith joining us on the program from ESPN. Don't ever miss Marty and McGee. It's terrific. And you had, speaking of Giles football and Coach, I've not heard from Coach. And Coach, right? He's very direct. He said, if I have any issues, I'm just going to call you. I haven't heard from him. He's got the invite, so I don't know if he's still trying to figure it out. But you know how that goes.
I will tell you, you'll laugh at this. So a couple of my teammates saw your promotional post yesterday.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the hell? Coach Ragsdale's actually going to do this? And I said, he told Rick he's all in. And so I think all of us are waiting with bated breath to see if Coach actually shows up, because, he's other than in the locker room with his players or on the field, he wasn't a man of many words. He when Coach Ragsdale spoke to us, and even still when he speaks, there is intentionality behind whatever the statement is.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of unnecessary bloviation from the GOAT. So we can't, all of us are excited to see what happens here.
Yeah, we're still waiting. I haven't got anything negative, so we'll wait. But the thing about it, he did tell me, he goes, "Oh, Marty's going to be, oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that then." I said, "Yeah, it's going to be fun, Coach. I'm just going to get out of the way and let you guys reminisce." But haven't heard, so we're still waiting here. I'll be checking the phone. So if you see me take my headphones off, that means I'm talking to him. So
I love it.
We'll see.
I love it, man.
But you just had Jeremy Haymore on, right? Your program.
We did. We had Jeremy on to talk about the Bandana Express, and as it was interesting because when he first completed the project, before he had sold the project, he sent me this manuscript, and it was like when you're in third grade carrying your Trapper Keeper around. You know, it was multiple inches thick, and he sent me the manuscript, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to read this, please, and give me your feedback and let me know what you think, and I would love if you'd write the foreword." So I'm like, all right. And so I carried that manuscript all over the United States of America, through every airport and airplane you could imagine. But I read it so quickly. And for me, and yeah, that book's on the 1980 Spartans, led by a very young Coach Ragsdale and Leon and Greg King, and all of those people that are heroes to me and to everybody my age. I mean, we were 4 years old or 3 years old, just turning 4 when they won that championship. And I was talking about this last night with Jimmy Johnson, my buddy that won all the NASCAR championships. He and I have a podcast together called Never Settle. And Greg Olson was our guest last night. That was an all-pro with the Panthers and played at Miami, and is a great friend to Jimmy and me. And we were talking about high school football. And we were talking about how high school football is a very important thread in the American fabric. And how if you play the game, no matter what your skill level may be, your contribution is in the long run. The brotherhood that is built from that, from being together in the energy of shared sacrifice, and in our case specifically, and I can't speak for the 1980 Spartans, but I can speak for the 1993 Spartans, that winning that state championship the way we did, I didn't understand the real magnitude of it until many, many, many years later, when I had the worldview of understanding the community impact and how folks in Appalachia, when they have something to grab onto that offers such a distinct local pride, it matters so much to feel part of that belonging. And I didn't realize that really in the moment. We were just playing and trying not to get ran over by Cornell Wesley at Radford, and Daniel Cox at Grayson County, and all those guys. Aaron Fuller down at Lebanon, who is a great friend of mine now and had like 7,000 yards receiving on me in the 1992 Regency Championship game. But it just matters, man. And when you're impressionable at 16, 17 years old, and you have someone like Steve Ragsdale that scared the hell out of me. I mean, I got asked recently, Rick, about to offer insight on a teacher that I had that had an indelible impact on my journey, that is a lasting impact. And there are many whom I could mention, including
sure.
my, sweet mom, my beautiful mother, my beautiful sister. But I said coach. And the reason that I said coach was he's a brilliant mathematician. He taught calculus and just advanced mathematics to us. But what I learned in his locker room was so much more important to me in my journey than anything I ever learned in his classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just forever indebted to him. I was terrified that I was going to screw up and cost him a ring, but somehow all of those other really good players managed to make it happen.
Well, I know that it was great. You got to see him when you came to speak at Radford a couple of years ago.
It was
for a gala. How cool
really
was that?
Really important to me. And the fact that he was even there was very humbling for me and emotional for me, that he came out and I got to talk to him about what I wanted to share and impart. And he gave me his nod of approval, which was really all I needed. But to be a Hall of Famer in the Virginia High School League is it almost seems unattainable, because you look at the guys that are around our area, and I'm not even including Tidewater. I'm not including Richmond East. I'm including Richmond West. In that era, when Coach was coaching, it's Joel Hicks, it's Willis White, it's Dave Christ, it's just Norm Lindenberg, rest in peace. We just lost Coach. Titans, mythical creatures for guys that grew up in our area. And so it just is such a testament to everything that Coach Ragsdale built, and we all did our best to carry on.
Marty Smith joining us on the program from Marty McGee, ESPN. He's going to be all over the place covering the Battle of Death Valley, Clemson and LSU. So Coach is he got up a little late, so he's been texting me, and he's at the link now, so he's trying to get on. So
I get here promptly.
You were right on time,
because I knew if I was late, he would give me down the river. And you know what? He earned it. He earned the opportunity and the right to be late. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to mention it.
No, not at all.
I'm sure not going to mention it.
You know, something you just touched on, and I was telling the story earlier leading up to you coming on and hopefully Coach here. We'll see. But the first time I ever talked to you, I heard about you from Mike Ashley. You probably don't remember, but I remember I was covering. I don't remember where we were. I was either in Floyd or maybe up here at Auburn. I was calling Radford High School, and you were, I think, stringing for the Roanoke Times at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you came in and you were like, "Hey, brother, you mind if I was sitting here with us?" No, not at all. That was the first time I'd ever spoken to you. And I remember you and I talking. It was a little bit about. It didn't matter who was playing. It was, it was probably a little late. It was in October. It was when district schedules were happening, so it was a little later in the season. And we were just talking about how special it was just to be out, because we'd both played, and we were talking about Giles. I was talking about Joel Hicks. You were talking about Rags, and watching those guys out there and what it means. And here at Auburn, they haven't had football the last 2 years, hadn't had varsity football because they couldn't, but because they didn't have the numbers. This year they have. It's going to be a big celebration on Friday. But you just touched on that. You're talking about Greg Olson. He's successful as he can be. The magnitude of his success in the NFL, now he's calling games, but yet you go back to that moment, don't you? You still remember the 93 title game like you just played in it yesterday.
Every play. And it's been interesting because I don't know if Jeremy's book, I'm not sure what the catalyst of this is, but all of a sudden, all of these games, all of our games are on YouTube.
It's true.
And I know Coach Jeff Williams, who also won a state championship at Giles and was my position coach when I was there 2,000 years ago, has been integral in making sure that footage gets to YouTube. But, man, I will sit down. I watched the entire Radford game the other night. The 1992 Mountain Empire District Championship game at Grayson County is on. I reluctantly watched that because I didn't have the best performance of my life.
Not a lot of good memories.
thank God for Stevie Steele and Patrick Steele and Rayfield Milton. But going back to Greg Olson, again, it's this thread, and I don't care if you're in Harrisburg, Pulaski, Compton, California, Bangor, Maine, Sunshine, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Permian. There's this beautiful, nostalgic sensation that comes with the experience of putting on those pads on Friday afternoon and tying up your cleats and the butterflies that are in your belly and hoping that you're well enough prepared. And then when you get out there and run under the lights. Now, I don't know what everybody's experience is. Some people's experience may not have had the same fanfare that ours did. Our whole damn county was there, man. Hey,
guess who has joined us?
Turn your video on.
How do I do that? I've been clicking on this camera with the line through it.
Well, that's what you're supposed to be clicking. So go down there. All right, Coach, go.
Here we go.
There's
coach the coach, will you?
In the that come down to the bottom, and you should see a red square.
Yeah.
Up above that red square, there's a little camera. Click on that.
I swear I don't see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna help him.
Oh, okay, I love it. Now we're bringing in reinforcements.
Absolutely.
Does it say present?
Says command, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it says command.
Here's a.
Oh,
I swear I don't see it.
Wait a minute.
So do y'all see that? You see that red square though down there?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, it ought to be right above that.
Yeah.
See right there?
It says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
Keep on coming down. Can you come down any further?
Yeah.
Can I what?
Can you come down any further? Can the screen go any further down?
I don't think so.
All right. We're just going to talk to Coach, I guess.
That's all right.
That's
Coach, we can hear you, man. Yeah.
I'm not very pretty anyway, so don't worry
either.
about it.
7:15 in the morning, I look like Night of the Living Dead, man.
Why is it not working?
I don't know why it's not working.
What would happen if you hit the red box?
Just talk to me, man. That's good enough.
Yeah, we'll just talk to you. That's good.
Welcome, Coach.
Hey, good to be on your show. Thanks for having me, particularly with Mr. Marty there. Marty, you ought to give me a good A chewing for not being able to perform.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I figured I didn't know, but I thought everybody after COVID knew how to do video conferencing.
I've only done this once, and that was during COVID with a doctor's appointment.
There you go.
And I
telehealth.
Plus, it may be I've got a new a computer here that I got last Thanksgiving, so that may be part of the problem. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy, so
you're on your computer and not your phone?
Yeah.
How does he not see? I don't
know.
All right. Well, I'm going to start the questions because I have a bunch of questions.
Okay.
The first, when it gets to this time of year, Coach, when it's late August, making its way towards Labor Day, and new seasons are about to dawn, what emotion does that evoke in you as somebody that built a program into an identity for an entire community?
Oh man, that's a great question. I I tell you, when I start hearing the cicadas, we live near the woods, and when those things start making their noise sometime after the 4th of July, I'll come in and I'll tell Patty, that's my wife, man, it sounds like football season out there. And then when you get into August and you start getting those mornings where it's foggy and cool in the morning, but then it heats up in the afternoon, then you really start feeling it. And what I feel is some sadness, some glad I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock this morning and go do 2-a-days.
We noticed.
So it's a mixed bag. And I tell you what, when I first retired from coaching, the first 2 or 3 years, well, I'll tell you, the first game was over at Blacksburg. Okay. And you know what kind of rivalry that is with us. And that was always a big game early in the season. And at that game, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to go sit up in the bleachers or walk the sideline behind the fence. And that's what I ended up doing because I didn't want to be around a bunch of people. But gradually, at that point, I was still in football coaching mode. But that over the course of 2 or 3 years, that decreased. And so, now I'm like, well, it's another football season, but I'm not necessarily affected in any major way. So it just kind of wears off over time,
I remember very distinctly my freshman year of college, we had won the state championship in 1993.
Right.
And I came home for fall break from Carson Newman, what was then college. It's now Carson Newman University. And I went to the game on Friday night because a lot of my team at Rayfield and Maurice were still playing. Brandon Steele was still playing. Anthony Myers was still playing. Guys that I love like brothers to this second right now, sitting here talking to you two. And Coach, I went up in the stands there on the home side, and I sat down about halfway up the grandstands there, and I watched about 10 plays, and I sobbed. I sat there and cried my eyes out at the genuine realization that everything that you and Jeff Williams told me every day when I was belly aching and grab assing in practice about not wanting to be there was true, that I was never going to get to put on shoulder pads and a helmet again and feel the feeling that is Friday night in Parisburg and all over the country for that matter. Friday night lights is a very real thing. And it is this beautiful energy that galvanizes people who in their normal lives may be fractured or going in different directions and having differing opinions on myriad different things. But by God, when the high school football team runs out there and everybody in the community is pulling the same direction, and there's a beautiful identity within that. I'm going to be 50 years old next year, and it still evokes these emotions in me that even though I get paid to articulate things for a living, I still can't really pinpoint that exact energy. And it's such a beautiful energy.
Well, let me interject this. Here we had to build that energy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My very first year, we won 2 ball games. Okay. We were starting 5 sophomores, and on occasion, some of them come off, the sophomores would come off the field in tears because they were out of their league. They were playing against juniors and seniors that were just better than them, bigger, stronger, faster, the whole works. And emotionally, they couldn't deal with that. And our last game, we went over to Galax, and I am not kidding you. The same night, Narrows was playing Radford at Radford for the New River District Championship. We probably had 10 people sitting up in the bleachers. Okay. My statistician didn't even show up for the game. That is no lie. All right. So we had to build, and that started the next year. The best season Giles High School had ever had was 7 wins. And Giles came into being in 1961. That was the first year after consolidation. Okay. So there was no
tradition.
Shoot, I can't think of the word, but there was no history.
Yeah, no tradition.
All right.
Right.
And so we had to build it from scratch. And one person in particular that helped us do that, and we had a lot of people along the way, but was Vic Edwards. He was great at coming up with ideas and things that we could try to do and to get the enthusiasm up. But you can't get the enthusiasm up until you start winning.
You gotta win.
That's right. And you gotta win. And to win, you gotta get out there and get the players. Okay. And the players were there. It was just a matter of getting them out and keeping them out. And that was kind of our focus there the first few years. We did everything we could imagine to get them out there. And I was telling somebody just yesterday that as a coach, well, when I first started, I kind of had this idea, hey, if they want to play, they'll be out here. And if they don't want to play, to heck with them. And Vic Edwards said, Coach, we can't do that. We got to do stuff to try to get them out here. And he changed my thinking. And from that point on, one thing I did was Coach Kelly and Coach Williams were both PE teachers, and I would have them make me a list of the potential football players that they had in PE class. And I made a point to get out there in the hallway and at some point talk to each one of those players or potential players that weren't out there playing football, but could be and could be good football players. And, we're in a rural community, and you got some of these farm boys out there that they don't know they're supposed to play football. Their mom, their daddy never played football probably, and they're supposed to go home and, work on the farm. All right. Or, they just don't know that, hey, I can go out and play, or they don't know that they're supposed to play. So you got to, and that's another thing. You got to build the feeling in the community where a kid walking down the street on Saturday morning who's, 6'2", 215, but doesn't play football, somebody needs to walk up to him and say, hey, son, why aren't you out there playing football? You know, and so it's not just a school thing. It's a community thing, man. You got to get that community wound up and do things like that to get them, you know, to get the kids out there. And I'll tell you a funny story. Listen to this. And this is toward the end of my career. I had this kid in my class, in my math class, sit on the very front row. Great kid, paid attention, was never any trouble, you know, just watched what I said, did what I said, you know. And he was on our list of potential players, but he wasn't playing at that point. He was about a sophomore that year. So one day I called him out in the hall and I said, I'm not going to mention any names, but I said, son, I said, look, and I always told kids two things. Number one, I'd love to have you out there. I wanted them to know, hey, we want you out here. And then secondly, I would say, because you can be a good football player. You know, I wouldn't be talking to you if you didn't have potential to come out and play football. And don't let the fact that you've never played before bother you, because football in general is not so much a skill game. It's being tough, being physical, that type of thing. You know, now it takes some skill, like a Rayfield, okay, throw the ball. But our style of play, probably more so than any other team around anywhere, was we wanted to be very, very physical. Coach Kelly, and I'm kind of getting off track here, but Coach Kelly would mark. He would over the weekend watch our film, and we had a chart of knockdown blocks, and we had all the players' names on there. And if you got a knockdown block, you know, if you got 7 of them during the game, you know, 7. And what was a knockdown block? You had to get the defender off his feet.
Yeah.
They can't make a tackle laying on their back. Okay.
Rick, so I've heard this before.
You know this.
And if they weren't off their feet, they hadn't done the job as good as it could be done. I watch these pro games on TV and they're holding and grabbing and, you know, turning around watching the ball carrier, and the announcer's saying, boy, that was some great blocking. And I'm sitting there going, my God, if that was our game film,
they'd be on the hill, son.
For not getting the guy off the feet.
He's running. Yeah.
They'd be on the hill.
But anyway, going back, I'm getting off there, but so going back, so I called this kid out in the hall and said, man, we'd love to have you out there. Well, next fall, he came out. He was like a junior, didn't know squat. And we had a lot of kids like this that we would get out their junior year. Now, it's kind of hard if their only year is their senior year. You first get them out. But I had one kid way back in 79 who made all group AA first team.
And played 1 year?
In 1 year.
Who was it?
Curtis Woods.
Oh, well, he was an All-American in basketball.
He played basketball for us. And at that time, I was coaching basketball as well as football. And he was a heck of a basketball player, but he decided he wanted to play football. And he came out and in 1 year made All-State, but I'm getting off track again. Okay. But there's a great example of a kid coming out, and heck, he was a heck of a football player. Played safety man for us and played on offense, you know, at end on offense. And so anyway, going back to this other kid that came out his junior year, and we put him over there on defense against our offense, right in the middle of the line, like nose guard. Okay. So we're working on our offense. And you know how we do that. Everything is live except you don't tackle the ball carrier. Yeah. We want you to pop him and try to take the ball from him, but you don't take our ball carrier to the ground. He's got to be in good shape Friday night. But everything else is game condition. It's live. Okay. All right. So this kid who's never been out on the football field is over there getting the snot beat out of him because he's sitting there in front of, let's see, Don Sparks and I don't know, who was the 9-man? You remember the numbering system? Who was the 9-man your senior year in there?
9-man for us. Well, I just saw a video where Rusty Carter, it was the last play of the Grayson County game, 4th down in the rest of your life, and Rayfield went 50 to the house. And I think Carter checked in at 8-man and didn't know what the hell position he was playing. And he ran all the way to 10-man. And then Stevie Steele went, no, Rusty, you're playing. Hey, get over here. But
okay. All right. Well, let me finish up my story.
Probably Brian
all right.
Cumby.
So this kid's over there getting the snot beat out of him every day for like 3 months, but he didn't quit. He stayed out there. All right. So the next year, he's our starting nose guard. I mean, in nose guard, man, you don't have to be able to pass the ball or catch the ball the way we played our defense in there, slanting. We wanted a nose guard who was quick and agile. I didn't care how big he was. You just slant left or slant right, and that's all you got to do. Go to the left and chase the ball. All right, go to the right and chase the ball. And this kid, man, he would chase it. If they ran up in the bleachers with the ball, he'd chase them up in the bleachers. All right, so here's the story I'm trying to finally get to. So we go over and play Christiansburg, the second game of the season. All right, and they had a good football team, and we had a good football team. Okay, well, their quarterback goes back to pass. Well, our nose guard is trying to rush the quarterback, but they're blocking him. They got 2 guys on him there blocking him. So what's he do? He says, to heck with this rushing the passer. I'm going to go down and play pass defense. So he turns his tail in and sprints back down the field into the secondary. Okay. He's not going to quit and just sit there and watch the passer pass the ball. He heads back down the field. All right. So the kid from Christiansburg catches the ball, and something happens. He fumbles. Who recovers the fumble 30 yards down the field?
Nose guard.
Nose guard, who sat in my math class, and if I hadn't said something to him, would have never been on the field. All right? So that's the first thing you got to do is get them out there. And to get them out there, you got to get out in that hallway and talk to them and bulletin boards and sell Giles jackets and so on and so forth. Next question.
Oh man, I got a million. I think Rick's probably got to go to break and pay some bills.
Go ahead and ask another. We're adjusting on the fly here.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Adjust on the fly just a little bit.
Yeah.
So so given the context of what you were saying about how you had to build it. So for my age, and I don't know how long this went. I don't think it's this way anymore based on what I'm seeing in terms of numbers, what I'm seeing in terms of birthright understanding. For my age and on for several years into probably the mid-2000s, it was just understood that you were going to play Spartan football. You just like it was just understood. It was like oxygen. It was like the sun coming up in the morning. So that is what you built. So how do you define then, Coach, what Spartan football became from post-1980 on? Like what was Spartan football in the broader scope, not just of Parisburg, Virginia, but Virginia?
Well, first of all, you never stop building. You never get complacent and say, oh, well, we've gotten there, the kids will come out and play. You got to keep on keeping on and, get them out there. And of course, it helps when you have success but you can't just sit back then and say, oh man, we've had success, we're there, we've made it, so we can just relax. You just got to keep on doing what you did to get you there. Okay. And you're right, the kids wanted to play football, and but that didn't happen just automatically, and it doesn't continue to happen just automatically. And so you got to keep coming up with fresh ideas and working to get them out there. But I would say the biggest thing in that whole mixture is the community, the feeling in the community, and ain't nothing like having those bleachers filled up on Friday night.
Oh man, ain't like it.
Across Virginia, I don't know that we're known across the state, but I think we're known certainly from Lynchburg west. Okay. And and I think we're known with, the idea that, hey, this is going to be a tough game tonight when we go to Giles. You go come across that mountain, it's going to be tough. And we preach that. We wanted to be tough. It goes back to that, let's get them off their feet type of thing. And I was just happened to watch the other night some of that Lunenburg game, okay, that you played in.
Man, we beat the piss out of them.
Well, there was a couple of plays there in particular, and this was like a highlight thing. I don't know what it was on, maybe YouTube or something like that, but it wasn't the whole game, but there was just certain plays in there, and one of them you were in on the tackle. And it was a gang tackle, 4 or 5 guys, first guy stands him up and then bam, bam, bam. And you're trying to knock him back. And by the time he goes to the ground, you can't even see the ball carrier. He's just swarmed over with red jerseys. And that's the style of play we wanted. And of course, probably everybody wants that. But you got to,
you did preach it though. Your leadership style and the way that you took, I mean, you were blessed with some real talent, at least in my era and shortly after my era for about the next 10 years. You had some real talent, but the great coaching, the greatest coaching you did was not, all right, we're going to run 32 here and Rayfield Milton's the best athlete on the field. Let's block a few guys really well and watch him go gain 18 yards every time that we ran 32. Yeah. The greatest piece of your coaching expertise, in my opinion, was taking the midline guys that had a little athletic ability and loved football, but weren't that great at football, and made us pretty good at football within the unit, within the overall team approach. That was your mastery, in my opinion. Maybe that's because I was one of those guys. I don't know. But the fringe player, you made the floor talent so much higher than a lot of other teams and coaches were able to do. And to me, that was your brilliance.
Well, I appreciate that compliment. That's very appreciated. I'll give you a quote, and that every year in the off season. Well, let me back up with that a minute. The main thing, my coaching and my coaching style came from coaches that I knew. Number one being my dad.
Dad, sure.
Okay. And my dad was, he was just super at being a father. But if I wanted to use the car on Friday night, I dreaded all week long asking him to use it. Okay.
Yeah, man.
And
yeah, I feel you.
By Thursday afternoon, I may have worked up enough nerve to say, Dad, can I use the car Friday night? Okay? But he never failed to let me use it. All right. But you didn't want him in a bad mood. And I forget where I heard this story, but he had a top-notch football player by the name of Bill Graham. Bill Graham went to West Point, the U.S. Military Academy, graduated there, threw the hammer on their track team, played linebacker at Narrows High School. And I mean, he would knock your tail end off. All right. But Dad had him in his algebra class one year, and Bill had this habit of now Bill Graham is older than I am. He played, my brother played with him, and my brother's 5 years older than I am. And Bill was really smart. But in Dad's math class, he had a habit of rearing back in his seat on the back two legs, rearing back. And Dad told him, Bill, put your desk down on the floor. All right. He turns around in a minute. Bill's rearing back. Not that he's being disrespectful. He's just in the habit of doing that. Okay. So he kind of does it without thinking. Well, Dad maybe tells him again, Bill, put your desk down. A minute later, Bill's reared back. Dad goes over, grabs the front of the desk, slams it down on the floor and says, Bill, I told you to put the desk down on the floor. All right. Bill didn't rear back anymore. So it started with my dad. Then my high school basketball coach, Coach Bill Pattison, was a heck of a basketball coach. Heck of a coach, period. But boy, you talking about tough. He got everything out of you that you had in you and more. All right. And so what I'm leading up to, I used to read a book every year about some great coach. And I read every book I could get my hands on about Vince Lombardi. Mm-hmm. Vince Lombardi was my kind of hero because when I was growing up, the Green Bay Packers were the standard. Okay. They won the NFL championship. I think it was 5 out of 7 years. Mm-hmm. And and that include 3 of those were before they played the Super Bowl. All right. And I forget which coach it was, but I'm thinking it was like Tom Landry, but I would read a book every winter about some great coach, Lou Holtz, Bo Schembechler, Vince Lombardi, Tom Landry, Joe Gibbs, you name it. I've read a book about them if it's out there. All right. To learn. Okay. I'd go to the clinic every summer, attend the sessions to learn. I'd go to practices in the spring of the year, Clemson, Virginia Tech, UNC, Maryland, wherever, trying to learn. All right. But this one book, and I think this was a quote from Tom Landry. I'm not sure whether it was Coach Landry or not. And he said, the essence of coaching is to get somebody who doesn't want to do something, getting them to do it. The essence of coaching is to get somebody to do something that they don't want to do. And think about it. That's it. If some 200-pound fullback comes up through the middle of the line and you're sitting back there as a safety man or a halfback like you were, you're probably thinking, damn, I don't want to step in front of this guy.
That's what I was thinking every single time, Coach.
All right. We tried not to let them get to you, Marty.
I know. Thank God. Thank God for Peter Janey and Brandon Steele.
We tried to cut them off before they got that far.
Thank God. I was so happy when they did get cut off.
But that is the essence. That is the essence of coaching, getting them to do what they don't want to
words.
do.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't believe they can. That's, in Reporting Sideline CEO, the book I did a couple years ago, interview.
Yeah, I got that right up there on my desk. I was looking at it this morning.
Yeah, I mean that when I asked all of those amazing leaders about leadership in general and its pillars, it is at its fundamental level. Can you influence people to do something they don't believe they're capable of doing? And then can you cultivate that belief and tailor it to a high level? And man, you were awesome at that. What team was your best team ever? And why was it 1993?
Are you leading the witness?
I tell you, that's hard to say, Marty, really, but if I had to pick one team, it would have to be the 1980 team.
Sure.
All right. And the reason for that is because at the time we were playing AA football. All right. And it was, there were 3 classifications. And it was based on your top 3, your enrollment and your top 3 grades. All right. If you had over 1,000, you were AAA. All right. If you were between 500 and 1,000, you were AA. And if you were under 500, you were single A. And this was based on, like I said, your top 3 grades. Okay. In 1980, our enrollment was 604 students in the top 3 grades. And I remember that number specifically because I talked at a clinic, I think it was down in Richmond somewhere, and I went and looked up what our enrollment was before I spoke at that clinic. And it was 604 in the top 3 grades. Well, Parkview Sterling, which is right out there beside Dulles Airport, was 900 and something in the top 3 grades.
And Alan Pinckney.
And we played in succession Grundy, who we had scrimmaged. And of course, Grundy's out in the coal fields. And you talk about rough. We went down there and scrimmaged them. And by God, I was sitting back there behind the defensive line in that scrimmage, and they killed us. Okay. I mean, they had a back by the name of Coleman, and he looked like a freight train coming through there that afternoon. So we faced them in the opening round, and they had beaten us physically down there in that scrimmage. And we had a really good game and won the ball game. We faced Abingdon in the second round at Abingdon. They were undefeated. And at that time, they had several really good football teams. So, and that was tough sledding, man, I'm telling you, down there. Our third game was against Jefferson Forest.
Ooh.
And they had played, I think, in the state finals the year before. And Abingdon had played in the semifinals, I think. Maybe it may have been Jefferson Forest that beat them in the semifinals the year before. But they had a running back by the name of Toby Thompson that was over 200 pounds and just was a freight train. They had Kenny Fuqua, who went to Virginia Tech on a full ride as a wide receiver playing in that game. They had a Stennett boy who went to JMU on a kicking scholarship, and that day attempted, and this is no lie, a 60-yard field goal from now the wind was blowing like a darn hurricane, but the ball just fell 5 yards short. 60 yards now. All right. And so they were really good. And I don't know if they were undefeated at the time or not, but I'm thinking maybe they were. And then we got Parkview Sterling. And we hardly knew who Alan Pinkett was. We had 2 tapes of them. One was you couldn't hardly see it, so we kind of just threw that one out. So we had 1 tape of them, and in that game, I think he had a sprained ankle or something, so he was just kind of inconsequential in the game. Okay, and Coach Christ over at Blacksburg, he is from Madison County, which is up there between Charlottesville and Washington. And so he was going up there to visit his family at Thanksgiving, and he volunteered to scout for us. And I said, sure, I'd love for you to. So he came back with a scouting report. Well, the guy that was outstanding for them in the game before we played him was their quarterback. He'd had a big day throwing the ball. Pinkett was just another back. So we went into that game thinking, we got to stop their quarterback, which we did. He didn't complete a pass all day. Now, he threw, I think, 10 passes. He was 0 for 10. All right. But Pinkett like to killed us. He scored every point in the ball game and scored every gained over 200 yards against us. And I don't think we'd given up a 100-yard rusher all season. And God, he went to Notre Dame and broke every record they had in their record book, and then played for the Houston Oilers in the NFL. And then they had a Loggeman kid who I think was an underclassman, but I'm thinking he went and ended up playing for the Jets in the NFL. So, we were playing good competition week after week after week. And during the regular season was the same way. New River District, tough district, Blacksburg, Radford, Christiansburg. My God, that year we played Christiansburg over there for the district championship. And they had a kid by the name of Mike Franklin, Mark or Mike won, who was like 215, played fullback for him, played defensive end. I think he went to NC State on a full ride. So what I'm saying is the competition week in and week out was, better than what we faced after we dropped down to single A. Not some of those teams in single A, darn tough, but it was tough.
Not the same.
And there was only 3 state champs. There
right.
wasn't none of this
Division
1,
like
Division 2, and all that stuff. It was, hey, you're the best in AAA, you're the best in AA, and you're the best in single A. So,
hey, Coach, I have somebody else who wants to ask you a question here on the program. Marty and Coach Mike Burnup joins us here.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, Marty, what's up, brother?
Good to see you, brother.
I was thinking about Mike this morning, okay? And let me tell y'all a little story.
Uh-oh, here we go.
All right. Mike and I met each other. I had graduated from Roanoke College in the spring of '73. Okay. And Mike had played tight end at Tech. Don Strock was the quarterback. Now you correct me on any of this stuff, Mike, that I'm wrong on. Gotcha. And Mike had set all kind of records catching passes at Tech. Well, we were both counselors at what was called the All Sports Camp at Virginia Tech, okay, for 6 weeks. And we got to know each other and got to be really good friends working in that sports camp, okay? And he had a girlfriend, his future wife, Ellen Grovey, which was the sweetest girl I've ever seen. I can't let my wife hear that.
Yeah, be careful, Coach. That's treading on thin ice right there, son.
She was a sweetheart. Well, Mike and Ellen invited me to go with them on spring break to Florida. Now, I'd never been to Florida on spring break. At spring break, I just came home. I came home to the mountains, all right? But they invited me to go with them. Now, this was a real threesome here. They're riding in the front seat. I'm riding in the back seat, okay? We end up at some point in Miami, Florida, and we spend the night in Don Strock's apartment or house. I don't know what it was. I slept in the hallway on the floor. Okay. But I mean, think about that. Here's this guy and his girlfriend, and they invite me, a lowly, I was in graduate school. I came to Tech 2 years in graduate school to get a master's degree. And this was my first, I think it was my first year there. I didn't know a soul except Mike and his girlfriend. And they were just super nice. And let's see, Mike, what was the saying we would say in the morning when we would wake up and take those kids to, we'd go to breakfast every morning. And the guy's name, he was a head recruiter for Tech's football team. I think I'm right on that. And he was the track coach, or he'd been a track coach at the University of Tennessee. Rowe was his last name. Well, I can't remember his first name.
Oh, yeah.
He'd give us an opening speech every morning when the sun's coming up, and we'd looking at out of the window there and ready to go out with our campers to do whatever. I'm gonna shut up and let Mike talk a little bit.
No, that was Chuck Rowe. You're absolutely right.
Chuck Rowe, yeah, right.
He ended up running that bowl game in Orlando for years and years and years, and he was on Charlie Coffey's staff for a long time. And then Charlie got fired, and Chuck moved on to other stuff. But yeah, you're right. That was a heck of a trip down there to Lauderdale and Miami, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. As I recall, we drove straight nonstop from, I don't know whether it was somewhere down. You had another friend that you had played pro football with at Jacksonville, who had played at Notre Dame. Now I forget his name, but I slept on the couch at his place.
Yeah, was that in Georgia somewhere?
No, it was in Florida, kind of the middle part of Florida.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. I can't think of his name. He's a running back. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. We drove from there straight back to Salem. Mike was from Salem. His family's house was right across the street from the Salem Civic Center.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of fun those 2 years, and I really appreciated what Mike and Ellen did because I didn't know anybody, and we had some good fun.
And then Rags becomes the legend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, hardly. But
Coach, this has been awesome. I can't even orate how awesome this has been having you on for as long as we've had you. And Marty, this has been, I know you look like, I can imagine this is how you looked, Marty, when you were listening to him during practice every day.
Well, someday I'm going to come on here and I'm going to tell the story about halftime at Radford High School in the crisp October air of 1993. When we walked into the locker room at halftime, down 3 touchdowns, and the very direct wisdom that Steve Ragsdale imparted to me about my manhood. And I'll tell that story another time.
Let me say one thing about Marty here before you kick me off the show.
thought this was your show.
Marty.
Yes, this is your show, Coach.
Marty wasn't the fastest guy around. He wasn't the biggest guy around, but he did what you coached him to do. That was one thing that we really preached a lot. Do what we coach you to do, not your thing, our thing. Okay? Do what we've coached you to do and do it all out. And if you do that, what else can you do? That's it. That packages the whole thing. Do what you've been coached to do and do it all out, and you can't do any more.
Right.
So Marty was good at doing that. He was smart. He played in the secondary, and, you know, he knew what his coverage was supposed to be, what his responsibility was, and he was where he was supposed to be when he was supposed to be there. All right. And even though he was slow as a mule, we had him return punts because he was sure-handed. He could catch the ball. He was reliable. And I wanted somebody back there that could catch the ball and wouldn't let it hit the ground and roll for 20 yards. I knew he wasn't going to return one for a touchdown, but I knew he wasn't going to fumble it and lay it out on the ground.
That's right.
And he did a heck of a job of that. And he did a heck of a job for us. In fact, Marty, I was looking at the end of that game, some highlights there the other day. Marty had a crew cut, and there was so much. They had you on the picture there so much after the game was over. And so anyway, that's it. And Mike, gosh, it's good to see you, man. I'm telling you.
Coach, I love you, man.
We got to get your picture on this thing next time.
We tried,
yeah,
Mike. You only it was like an act of Congress.
They tried for 20 minutes to get this on.
We need daggum. Who's that cat that invented Microsoft? What's his name?
Yeah. He needs to show
I had my daughter. Hey, I had my daughter here, not in the house, but I had her on the cell phone, showing her the screen, and she was trying to tell me what to do, and my wife was in here trying to get me squared away.
Marty, we got to send him back to Giles High School.
Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna have to go back to Pearisburg and teach Coach how this thing works.
Oh man,
we'll do a couple weeks of training next time.
Now he knows how I felt. Now, Coach, this is a lesson for you. This is exactly how I felt in that damn calculus class when you were up there with the chalk, and it all made sense to you. It was real easy for Coach Ragsdale, but for us, it was like a foreign language. And you're like, I could see it in your eyes every morning. Why can't you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
No, Marty, this is the way it works teaching. You quickly learn that every kid in your class has got a ceiling, and they can't go above that ceiling. And we've all got that ceiling. You know, you can go so far up the ladder, and then that's it. You can't go any further. You don't have the capability. Okay, so you had reached your ceiling, buddy. As far as math went, you had reached your ceiling. And you went to journalism.
Yes.
And it was a wise choice.
Yes. Yes. Words are my superpower. Math is my Achilles heel, Coach.
Here.
All
right. I love y'all.
Hey.
Mike,
Marty,
go
thanks,
Hokies.
Brother.
Coach,
Thanks,
go
brother.
Spartans.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Have
so
a great
much
weekend,
for
Marty.
having me
Have
on.
fun this weekend,
Mike,
brother.
it's
Stay
great
safe.
seeing you, man. And I love you, buddy. I'm telling you that much. And Marty, you're the best, man. You're the best. Just keep doing it.
Thank you,
You
Coach.
make us proud here in Pearisburg. I'll tell you that much right now.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. I'm grateful for it, bud.
Thanks, brother.
Okay.
Appreciate
See
it.
you gentlemen later.
Okay, man. Be safe.
All
Be
right.
safe.
Take care.
How great was that? Coach, thanks so much, brother. Hey, we'll figure it out next time with the camera. Trust me. We'll get it done.
Okay.
Thanks, brother. Take care. Great stuff. All right. That was fun. Mike Burnop, what joins us now, courtesy of Louise Baker. Of course, go check out Louise and the Long and Foster team. 540-320-0382, nrvhomes.com. Mike, thanks for being part of that. That was so. It's one of those moments, new format. you just kind of let it go because you may never have that opportunity again. And Coach Rags, he couldn't get the video figured out. Boy, the audio was strong. He sounds just like he did when he was on the sidelines.
No, I know. He was such a great coach, had an unbelievable run. And it was so good to hear from him again. And I'm glad he remembered that story about the sports camp and going to Florida. And it was great to see Marty, too. We need to get Marty back in town for a game.
Yeah, we do.
Good enough to get him back here.
Well, we do. We do. No, it was fun. Coach was awesome. Coach was awesome.
That was great.
Mike, it is game week, man. Here we are. It is game week. How are you feeling about this team? You know, of course, you've been in there watching them go. I like their chances on Sunday. Maybe I'm just that guy, but I just, from what I've heard you and what you've talked about with Kyron Drones and new mindset and all these things, what do you think about this team as they go into this final few days of preparation?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're flying under the radar. I think they feel good about their chances, but, you know, you got to go out there and make plays. And I think if you've seen anything, Rick, in week 0 in those games, it's what kills teams and hurts them is turnovers, muff punts. You know, people make mistakes, penalties, and you got to play a clean game against a team like South Carolina if you got any hope to win. And I know that's their focus. I know that's what they want to try to do is certainly keep the turnovers down if they have any at all. But they gotta take care of the special teams. You know, don't make a blunder there, and you know, keep that thing close. I think the first half will be close because I don't think they know exactly what we're going to do, and I think the adjustments made at halftime are going to be big in this game, and give your team a chance to win the fourth quarter. I think that's what they're looking to do, and hopefully they'll play well enough to have a shot.
Well, health-wise, are we hearing good news? I mean, anything major standing out from the guys who were expected to be the main 22 out there on the field? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think Stewart's still a little banged up a little bit, but we'll get an update today at the press conference because last week was kind of a bonus week for the team. They were working on their stuff, working on South Carolina too, and then this week is totally South Carolina focus. But, yeah, the press conference today at noon, Coach will fill us in on all those, but I know Brody Meadows, one of the linemen, came back to practice, and some of those other guys who were banged up a little bit are back in healthy now. So, yeah, they should. I mean, they got enough talent. They do have enough talent. It's a question of now can they go out there and perform and do the job and get the thing done.
Well, Mike, let's look at South Carolina a little bit. We had a lot of people wanting me to ask you about them. I know you've already studied. That we know a lot more about them than they know about Tech, potentially, right? At least what the new coordinators are going to do. What stands out about them as an SEC squad when you go into this first game?
Well, big, and they're rugged, and an SEC line, both sides of the ball. You know, they got good edge rushers. Quarterback, of course, is outstanding, and he makes them go. And you got to be worried about him when he extends plays with his feet, of course. And, you know, they're just like a really good SEC team. You know, they're big, strong, fast dudes. A lot of them, their linebackers are big. You know, they run well in the secondary. And, you know, their line and running backs are good. So there'll be a handful. There's no doubt. It's just a matter of, you know, can your guys win some of those one-on-one battles because they're going to be available, especially in the passing game when you go out there and, you know, you see a guy like Donovan Green. Can he get loose for a long pass or two? Or Aiden Green or Cam Selden. You know, he's been looking good in the slot, as has Spencer. And, you know, Takai Heath. You know, those guys, they got talent. They got speed. If they can give Drones time enough to throw the football, I think he'll connect on some of those shots downfield and keep their running game to keep them honest with Marcellus Hawkins. Maybe even P.J. Prelo will get some time and Bennett will get some time. So I think they got enough weapons to do well. It's just a matter of who's going to have the hot hand, who's going to be able to win the one-on-one battles, and can the offensive line, you know, protect Kyron, keep him upright.
Mike Burnup joining us on the program. We appreciate Mike jumping on, giving us the preview, the inside information. I know people get very excited this time of year. We've been talking about with high school football with Rags and Marty, but college football, Mike, what I'm more pleased with is I feel just as good about, even with everything going on, I'm just as excited for week 1 I was for week 0, and I think that's a good sign. There's something about the start of a season. You can wipe the slate kind of clean, can't you?
Yeah, everybody's undefeated, you know, and everybody thinks that they're going to go undefeated all year and challenge. So, yeah, it is a great time of year. and it's nice to open up in a high-profile game like this in a great city of Atlanta. You know, Gary Stoken's been so good at Virginia Tech over the years, and his relationship with Coach Beamer has been great. And Coach is going to do the invocation. You know, that's one thing. If you got time and people are out there listening, they listen to the podcast, check out our Level 7 podcast, because we went to Coach Beamer's house last week. And God, he was great. And just talking about the game and laughing about some stuff and some old memories we had, and talking about he might have to find a bathroom when the game gets close.
Yeah.
And Cheryl was hilarious. You know, she said she's probably gonna throw up, and she had the great line. I don't know if I told you this last week or not, but she said we love Virginia Tech, and I love Brent Pry, and I love our time here, and I love everything about what's happened and our longevity and what we were able to get accomplished, and the people here. Everything is just great. Virginia Tech, da 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 da, on and on and on she went, and then she came up with a great line. She said, "But I only gave birth to one head coach."
What?
Shane Beamer.
That's great. Hey, it's mom. Hey,
that's mom.
That's mom. That's mom.
She's not wearing a split jersey. She's wearing South Carolina colors and sitting in Emily's box, and they're gonna have a good old time down there. But it'll be nerve wracking. And I asked Frank. I said, "Aren't you glad you're not coaching in this game?" And he went, "Ugh." Yeah, that'd be like the old Bowden Bowl. Remember those? That's stressful.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah. Ripped the family apart, it felt like, right? They were intense, man. Those were intense.
Mrs. Bowden, she'd go nuts. Watch that, but Bobby, we want to whoop her ass. You know?
That's right. He didn't care.
Yeah.
But the Level 7, you guys are off to a great start. This has been a great podcast. And folks, if you're a Tech fan, you don't want to miss Mike and Bill. The Level 7 podcast takes you inside great interviews. You don't get to hear this stuff anywhere else. So check it out. And that's fun. That's true. I mean, it's special. It's special from a Virginia Tech perspective, the family perspective. Shane, I'm sure, has talked about it. You know, he talked about it with David Till and Andy Bitter and people from around here. But I know it's not going to at all hit him until he gets ready to walk out there when he sees that Tech uniform, you know?
I know. Yeah, you think about it's got to be hard for him, too. These games are difficult for guys that have been around a long time and they have these connections, and it's always so tough. Just like kind of like when Brent Pry plays Old Dominion, that's one of his best buddies, Ricky Rami, and
right.
So yeah, it's tough. It's hard to do that, and you're glad when the game's over with, but boy, during that time and the lead up, you're just so stressful, and you want them to do well, and you got to know you got to do well, and it just it makes for a lot of intrigue for sure.
Well, Mike, you're always so good at putting first games in perspective. And whenever I'm watching, I think about what did Mike say. So what is it specifically you look for? I know the answers to some of these, but I know there's certain things, right, that can cost you game. We kind of saw it last year in Nashville. But first games, you can kind of throw a lot of things out the window. What are some of the things you have to protect against the most when you're going out there for the first time for real?
Well, you got to protect the ball, number one. I mean, you can't have these miscues where – you botch a fumble punt or muff a punt and give the other team field position, and, Beamer ball strikes and then the crowd goes berserk. And it's like Coach Beamer, when we were talking to him the other day, he said, always felt like special teams, it's the quickest way to turn a game around, to shift the momentum. And it can go in your favor or it can go away from you. And then I think the other thing is, when you have these situations that happen, how is this team going to react to it? Adversity. Coach Fu talked about a long time when he was here. It's how do you act to adversity? And like when you're getting ready to score, for example, you go in there and you fumble the ball, or you're backed up on the end zone coming out from the red zone out, and you fumble the ball and your defense has to go on the field, and their backs are against the wall, and you get the pressure on you to try to keep them from scoring, all those little things like that. So turnovers are going to be huge. Adjustments, are going to be big. Special teams, the play there, again, can certainly change games quickly. And then, you got to be able to run the football and keep the other team off balance a little bit. And I think that's the game plan for, obviously, Philip Montgomery. And, it's going to be interesting to see what Sam Cephas comes up with, because he's got a lot of stuff, and he's got that defense going in different directions, flying around, and they'll be in different formations, and they're going to certainly try to disguise the coverage for Sellers to try to confuse him a little bit.
And it feels like, Mike, listening to you and Bill, that seems to be such a big difference, the coordinators themselves and that experience factor that they bring. I mean, I'm so excited to see what a newly motivated Kyron Drones is going to look like in Coach Montgomery's offense and Coach Seacrest. He just seems to be that cerebral guy, but yet I think Bill said guys always have their eyes up, right? That he has their attention. I mean, that to me is the biggest X factor in Tech's favor, I think, going into not only Sunday, but here in the non-conference schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got a great relationship, Kyron and Coach Monty. And he talks about that. I'm actually talking to him today, Kyron, and they get him on for the pregame show a little bit. And
nice.
He's in a great place. He just admits it, that he's in a much better place than he was last year. I think he was feeling the outside noise last year with Cam Ward, with Miami being his cousin. He was getting all the love. And, Kyron didn't play very well at the Vanderbilt game. I can specifically remember 2 passes he threw to guys that were like linebackers, and they should have caught it. Should have been 2 interceptions. And, he got better as the game went along. He found Ali Jennings and for a long pass and whatnot, but he didn't play great in that game for a big chunk of it. And then he gets cramped up and can't finish the game. And so I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove it. Again, you can't get him so excited because we talked about this. He hadn't had a hit since that Clemson game last year.
That's right.
You go throw the guy out there who's been in that orange shirt, and all of a sudden you got these wolves coming after him, right?
That's right. That's right.
They want to take his head off. So that's something you got to watch too. He can't be like that. Adrenaline can't be pumping so much that he feels like he's invincible and he can try to run over some dude just as big and fast as he is. He's got to be smart, get rid of the ball, slide, whatever, but just don't take the big hit.
Well, that's a terrific point, and I don't think he can be overstated, Mike. You're right. He hasn't been hitting over a year, right? It's been a long time. Been a long time. Yeah.
That's an adjustment too, man. When you go out there and all of a sudden it's live and you're running for your life and you haven't really exerted that much energy because again, when you're in that orange jersey, they're blowing that whistle. So if you even get close to getting tagged, the whistle stops. Well, if he goes out there and gets loose and runs 20, 30 yards a couple different times in the game, he hadn't been doing that in practice that much when you think about it. Because he might go 10 yards and the whistle will blow.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, was part of the reason last year was so hot in Nashville that he got cramped up. But fortunately, this game's indoors and we shouldn't have that problem. And again, Jared Ferguson's done a great job of getting those guys in shape.
Finally, Mike, let me ask you, I'm getting actually 3 different questions here on the text line to ask you about your confidence in the running game. They ask Mike, what's he feel now? We all love Bashal Tootin. He's not here anymore. I know the O-line you like the new O-line coach. How do you feel about the running game heading into the first contest?
Well, I think the good thing is that those 5 guys that are starting have been there since spring practice. They kind of identified those guys, and they've been together since then, and I think they've got great chemistry in that group, and I think they played really, really well. Matt Moore's got them playing at a high level. When you talk to the defensive guys, when you talk to Kamari Copeland and Kelvin Gilliam, he tells you how good they are and how productive they have been. So, would you like to have a healthy Stewart? Absolutely. But Marcellus Hawkins has had some really nice runs. I think he's done a good job. Even Tyler Mason, who played sparingly last year, has had some good times from him as well. Even PJ Prelo, how fast he is.
No.
So if you can get those guys loose, a little bit of daylight, I think they'll be okay. And they're going to have to be able to run the football some to keep them honest. You can't just sit back there and sling it around 40 times. You're going to get beat. But, but I feel good in the offensive line now. But, again, they got to go out and prove it, right? They got to go out and prove that they can open up the holes and do a good job.
And try to get a lead early of any type, right? It just seems to change the whole mindset of, especially of a team that's favored like South Carolina, not only favored in this game, but favored maybe to be an SEC contender. Maybe put them behind the 8 ball a little early, right? Make them react,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's always good to get up and play ahead, not play catch up. Because, then the team might have to take a couple chances or whatever, but you want to definitely try to keep it close and get a shot to win it in the fourth quarter. You got a great kicker. You got your punter's been pretty solid. Just hope he punts the ball well because he's had a tendency to be a little inconsistent.
Right.
And that can flip a field so fast. And, your cover teams, again, you don't do a lot of that live. A lot of it's just 2-hand touching. Those cover teams on punt returns, those are big. you give up a big punt return,
no doubt,
that can flip your field position quickly, and they're going to have the crowd. They're going to have the momentum, the crowd, and you don't want to try to take them out of the game if you can.
You guys heading down Friday or Saturday? When are you heading out?
We're going down Friday afternoon. Yeah, we're going to interview Coach Pry for the pregame at 12:30 and got a 3:30 flight.
Okay.
So we go directly on Delta to Atlanta.
Nice.
We got that radio show Saturday night and then the game, of course, Sunday. So, and head back Monday morning.
Well, it's exciting times, Mike. We'll be tuned in here on the Bear locally and on the app as well to you and Bill and Zach and everybody. It's going to be great to have Tech football back on, and this first game means a lot. They all mean a lot, but this one just feels special. And, boy, that opportunity, Mike, you've talked, it's right there for this team to change the whole diatribe around the program.
And I think, one other thing too, Rick, I think they understand this team's – they got some veteran guys that came in from the portal, and they're all on the same page. You got good chemistry. Coach talks about that a lot. But I think they understand, they realize that, hey, we only got 12 opportunities here.
Yeah.
12 games. That's the only thing you're guaranteed is to have 12 games. You better be at your best all 12 of those games. And these opportunities like this don't come along very often when you're playing a top 15 team at a neutral site game with all the eyes of the world on you in a primetime slot Sunday afternoon. I mean, that's a golden opportunity for Virginia Tech to kind of flip the script on the program. And, I think they're taking that to heart. They got a little chip on their shoulders, and hopefully they can go out there and play a good game.
Well, Mike, as always, we appreciate you for your analysis. I hope you guys have safe travels, and thanks to Louise Baker and the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, for making Mike's appearance possible here. Give them a call, 540-320-0382. We'll be listening, my friend. Can't wait to get your reaction next week. Have a great call this weekend.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Good to be on with you, and thanks for looping me in with Marty there and Coach. That was awesome.
That was all. It was great. In full disclosure, Mike wanted to ask Rags about the Florida story, and yet when he saw you, he went right into it.
That's amazing. He's got a memory now.
Sounded just like he did when he coaches, doesn't he? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Listen, stay safe. Have a great rest of the week, man.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Rick. Thanks, Louise, and we'll talk at you next week.
All right, man. Take care. There you go. Okay. That's Mike Burnop joining us. Great stuff from Mike. Yeah, Mike wanted to jump on to talk to Rags about the travel to Florida, and Coach Rags was ready to go. He unprompted. That was awesome. That was great stuff. That was special. You do this for a long time, and some things you don't plan just happen, and that just happened. Thanks to David Smith. David Smith, it was scheduled to be on, and he just kept saying, "Look, don't you dare bring me on. You just let this go because this is a rare opportunity." And thank you, David. We'll make it up to you very, very soon. That was awesome. Thanks to Louise Baker again for making Mike Burnup's appearance possible here on the program. Louise at nrvhomes.com, 540-320-0382. Thank all of our sponsors, Family Fencing, for sponsoring our studio here in Reiner. Special day to have all of our sponsors here, to say the least. It is every day, but today feels a little different in the best way possible. 540-200-8294. Reach out to them, familyfencingnrv.com. Jason Green and the gang, they're terrific. They're great at what they do. And if you want a privacy situation or you want a boundary, they'll come and they'll give you just a free estimate. They come by, give you a quote, and they have payment options, and they are terrific. Thank you to them. Our McClellan Chiropractic chat room blew up and then some today with Marty and with Rags on there. That was great. So thank you very much to Mark Hunley. If you need a pop or two or three and you need more advice how to stay healthy and keep your body feeling great, go by McClellan and they'll give you great advice. They don't just fix you. They want you to stay fixed. So check them out as well. As always, every day, this program is I'm very proud as a Pulaski County native to say that we're brought to you by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Jonathan Sweet, we're going to be meeting some of those people here very soon. We're going to talk more in depth about what's going on with Pulaski County. Thank you so much for being part of what we're doing. Little River Heating and Air, we want to thank them. Charles Lee's the best. He's already gotten referrals from the program. It's awesome. That's what this is all about. They help us. You help us as sponsors. We're trying to help you. Folks, I have no hesitation at all to say if you need something with one of your air units, both your air units, your home, you have a new home, these are the guys you need to call. They were the best to me and my son here. We had a dire situation. They took care of it within 2 days. Had the equipment here. It was over, and I haven't had to worry about it since. So give them a call. Check them out at 1095 Radford Street. Don't forget, by the way, thanks to Ryan Pry, the attorney, down on 701 West Main Street in Radford. A question this week, our fan question. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just tell us the game you loved watching growing up in college football. TV, in person, doesn't matter. A lot of people are sending those in. Send those in on our text line. That's the best way for me to kind of gather them. Or you can send me a DM, and we'll read those as we did last week. Give Ryan a call, 540-838-2233, prylawoffice.com. And a very special thanks to National Bank, my bank for over 30 years, the exclusive banking partner here, BDST on YouTube. Appreciate it's great to have Lara. She's the new president and CEO. She's earned it. Brad DiNardo did such a great job in building the brand, and now he's passing it into great hands with Lara and company. They're going to be sponsoring our Star of the Week. Keep sending those in, by the way. We've already had 4 or 5 of those. Any local athlete you want to nominate, whether it's high school, college, whatever, and we'll pick one out at the end of the week, okay? Your Star Athlete of the Week, sponsored by National Bank. They also will be our title sponsor for the high school football show that Jermaine and I will bring you, 4th and Goal. Thank you so much for watching. I believe that takes care of all the business at hand. Today was special. I've done this show now, 15 years, going on 16 years, counting this here on YouTube. And it's moments like that with Marty and with Coach Ragsdale that keep you motivated and excited about doing this. That was just, it was unplanned. It was unscripted. It made it kind of even better that he couldn't get the camera to work, but he sounded great. It was so much fun. And we will have all this. If you missed the show, doesn't matter. All you have to do, go to your YouTube, find the show, Big Dog Sports Talk with Rick Watson. Please, by the way, spread the word. Subscribe. It's free. Like the video. Watch it multiple times. It helps. And it'll be right there. They joined us the entire second hour into the third. David Smith, thank you so much for understanding. David's such a veteran in broadcasting. He knew what was going on there. So a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for the great comments in chat. Thank you so much, David Smith. Marty Smith, thank you so much, brother. It's great to see you again. Know Marty, I guess about 30 years. And he's the same exact guy who walked into that press box that first night we met at covering Radford High School football, as he is now that he's made it to the pinnacle of the profession. So thank you, Marty, for your time. Coach Ragsdale, you were terrific. Thank you so much. I could listen to your stories all day long. And Mike Burnop, you're the best analyst out there. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. We have a big Wednesday as well. We'll put up a preview on our Facebook page. Take care, everybody. Whoops, there's a real pro move. Hit your microphone with your finger. Take care, everybody. Go back and watch. Subscribe. Spread the word. We'll see you tomorrow on the Wednesday edition. Great Tuesday. Take care, everybody.